start an app on my phone because I'm limited on time, so I want to make sure that I get everything in here. Where's the clicker? Okay, you're going to do it? Great. All right, let's go ahead and get started. How's everybody doing today? All right. Like Mr. Assistant said, my name is Bryan S. Harris. I just turned 34 years old, and and I want to. Oh, you think so? No,
I don't have a.
Okay.
I don't have work things for yours.
So
I'll get it back after you're done.
Four. Okay. So I started my own business, like he said. He kind of told my story. But I want to tell you a little bit about what I do every day and what I started doing every day to get to the level of income that I wanted when I was a little bit younger. So I went to Houston High School. Anybody familiar with that? Ooh. Oh, man. Mr. John Atkins was my principal, and I wanted to play football. My whole thing was I wanted to make a lot of money. That was always the plan. I wanted to make a lot of money. I wanted to be wealthy. I wanted to buy my mom and dad their own house and take off her job. Anybody know what I mean there? I wanted to give back to the people that always given to me, and so I thought that football would be that route. And so I ended up going to Austin Peay State University up in Clarksville, Tennessee. And I played football for 4 years, and I did pretty good. I became the sack leader, was knocking down everybody. And I decided to go and pursue my football dream, and got a call to go up to St. Louis Rams. At the age of 21, I was super excited. I'm like, yeah, I'm almost there, baby. And I'm about to make it, Mommy. Mommy, welcome to Disney World. And so, ended up getting another phone call and said, you can go back home. That dream is over. And I'm like, oh, my God. So you can just imagine, at one point in time in my life, every time I tell this story, I would come to tears. Because I was so close to realizing my dream. But how many know that sometimes God takes you on a detour? Right? And what I ended up learning is pain is the starting point to every success story. Sometimes you have to embrace that pain and take it and make it fuel. I'm gonna tell you a quick story. How many of y'all know that story about the young lady I heard, Adele? She sings that song, "Rolling in the Deep." Rolling in the Deep. Well, I listened to that song, and one time I was listening to it, it's baby crying, and that song. Okay, I can sing a little bit, though. And so I'm listening to that song, and I can feel her passion. Yeah. I can feel her pain. And what I did a little bit of research, and I eventually heard that from that song, what happened was she was in the studio for months. And what ended up happening, she ended up losing her passion to do that song. So they had to shut down her whole record for months. And what happened was, a couple weeks before days before she actually recorded that album, her boyfriend broke up with her. And not only did he break up with her, but he got engaged to somebody else within a matter of days. And that literally broke her. It literally broke her and changed her life. And what happened when it broke her, sometimes God is so good, he breaks us to bring that pain. He breaks us to bring that creativity out. And so he broke her. And when he broke her, she said, hey, take me in the studio. Put on my headphones. Turn on the music. Play the music, and she sang that song, the song that we hear, and that won 6 Grammys out of that pain. The best album out of that pain. So pain is a starting point. So sometimes I read this. I got 3 minutes. And so what ended up happening was I also read an article about the initial golf ball. I know we got some avid golfers in the room, right? All right. The initial golf ball. Listen to this story. The initial golf ball cover was actually a smooth golf ball. It wasn't dimpled like we know it. What ended up happening was the engineers that constructed that golf ball, they would take that golf ball out and they would hit it every day. And they noticed that the smooth golf balls would only go so far. But when they would go pick up the same balls and come back and hit them on the next day, they noticed that the golf balls with dimples, the golf balls that had been bruised a little bit, the golf balls that had been hit the most, went a little bit further than the smooth golf ball. And so now that we know the golf ball with dimples is the one that the engineers reconstructed, this is what I'm trying to say to you. God doesn't take us upside the rough side of that mountain so that he can hurt us or bruise us. He's redesigning us. He's reconstructing us so that we can go a little bit further. And so so I understood that I had a clear-cut vision of where I wanted to go. What do you do in that hard time? Because you're going to have hard times. Everything that every one of these people said, you want to start a business. Yes, you do. You want to make millions of dollars. Yes, you do. Or you want to make thousands of dollars, whatever it is. But you're going to have rough times. So what do you do when you go through that rough? I'm supposed to be going through the slide, huh? What do you do when you go through that? You must have faith and engage in consistent, massive action. Hebrews 11:6 is a scripture that I live by. Faith is the only thing that God responds to. It's the only thing that God responds to. So you must have a clear-cut vision. When I wake up in the morning, I can literally taste where I want to be. It's so real to me and so clear. I tell myself every morning, I want everybody to stand up real quick and repeat after me. I want you to turn to your neighbor, look at your neighbor in the face. This is what I do in the mirror every single morning. I want you to say, I'm a champion. Oh no, you didn't say it like you mean it. In order for somebody else to believe it, you have to believe it first. Say, I'm a champion. I'm a winner. I'm successful. I like myself. I love myself. I see myself in you. Sit down, everybody. Take a seat. I get myself motivated and high off life every morning that I wake up. Every morning that I wake up. No matter what I'm going through, because I have went through some hard times, but I can look myself in the mirror and tell God, thank you for this next breath of air that I woke up and breathed. Give gratitude for where you are right now. My kids, I got 3 little boys, and if they are not appreciative for me giving them anything, guess what? I won't want to give them anything else. But if I have a raggedy bike, okay, then that's all I can give my son. And he comes to me and said, Dad, thank you so much for this bike that I have. It's the best bike in the world. Guess what Daddy and Mommy is going to do? Get him a better bike. I'm going to do everything you can. That's the same thing God is going to do for you. So what ended up happening was, after all this telling myself this is not the end, this is just pain, I ended up finding me a mentor. God puts people, places, and circumstances in your life. You don't have to worry about the how. Just give him that clear-cut vision, and he'll put the people around you, okay? So I found a mentor that appeared in my life, and this guy was making the kind of money that I could only dream of, over 6 figures a month. And I said, oh my goodness, here we go again, baby. Let's get it. And so this guy told me, he introduced me to this wonderful, wonderful concept. He said, Bryan, if you want to be wealthy, you want to be rich, you got to understand that there are 4 quadrants that people earn income out of. And I want you to snapshot this in your brain. Take a picture of this with your camera phone if you got to. This changed my life. He said, look at this. You got what they call the left side of the quadrant and the right side of the quadrant. He said the left side of the quadrant stands for the E quadrant. The E quadrant means the employee. That's the person that trades their time for money. He said if you trade your time for money, nothing wrong with it, but as you trade your time for money, there's only so much money you can make because there's only so many hours in a day. Yeah. It's one of the hardest ways to earn your money. That's the E quadrant. He said most people are familiar with that type of income. Listen to this. I love school. I love high school. Formal education is your foundation. Make sure you get it. Formal education will make you a living. Self-education will make you a fortune. It begins after that to continue to educate yourself. Then he said, look down at the bottom of the E quadrant. You have the S quadrant. He said the S quadrant is the quadrant that most people transition to when they start a business. He said it stands for self-employed, but it really means small business owner. That means that they start a business and they literally take the ownership of a job. That means they still have to show up for the paycheck. That's the person who starts a lawn care business. Nothing against that at all. The person that starts a hair salon business, they still have to show up. And other types of business where they have to show up, they have to show up in order to get paid. He said, Bryan, this is the left side of the quadrant. Both are great quadrants. Both can bring you money. But Bryan, you told me you wanted to be wealthy. He said, you told me you wanted to be rich. Look at the right side of the quadrant. He said you have the B quadrant, the big business owner, like Mr. Sisner was talking about. The big business owner is the person that puts a system, everybody say system. A system in place. A system. A system is something that right now in this day and age, it can be put in place with technology, with the internet. And you can put in place with giving thousands of people jobs. You have more people operating towards your goal than you. And that person of the big business owner, they can be out on the golf course every day, re-engineering balls. They can be out on the golf course every day, and no matter what they do, that income is going to continue to roll into them every month. Does that make sense? Yeah. Big business, big business. That's what the B stands for. And then he said, Bryan, you have the I quadrant. He said, everybody wants to eventually get there. That stands for the investor. The investor has made enough money from any of the quadrants to where they can now put it into investments, and guess what? Their money begins to work for them. Their money works harder. Your money will work harder for you than anybody ever will. Wow. The I quadrant. He said, Bryan, this is known as the right side of the quadrant. And I said, wow, okay. I'm super excited. He said, but here's the actual stat that blew me away. He said over 90% of the people in the world operate on the left side of the quadrant. And they control less than 10% of the nation's wealth. Wow. And then he said, less than 10% of the people operate on the right side of the quadrant, and they control more than 90% of the nation's wealth. Wow. So I'm like, oh my goodness, this is it. This is everything I've been wanting to know. And so he said, I understood that if I didn't get right, I would definitely get left. And I didn't want to get left, so I wanted to learn how to build a big business. So I was making good money, but I didn't have a system. I was an S quadrant. Making all that money, you could be a big-time income earner and still be on the left side of the quadrant. I want you to understand that. I wanted to put a system in place, so that led me to real estate. And I studied the great ones, the people that are already where I wanted to be, finding a mentor. And I read an article that Oprah said, I made my money in broadcasting, but I hold on to my wealth in real estate. I made it in broadcasting, but I hold on to it in real estate. That means she made her money doing what she loved, other things, but she holds on to it in real estate. I didn't want to have the MC Hammer story. Y'all may be too young to know who MC Hammer. Dude made over $100 million and lost it, and I didn't want to do that. So here's the deal here. So what ended up happening was, if I wanted to be poor, I would do what the poor do. If I wanted to be rich, I would do what the rich do. So I started reading books, re-educating myself. I want you to understand something. It doesn't take me 3 or 4 or 5 years to learn something that's going to make me money. Somebody has wrote a book about what you want to accomplish. This day and age, there's YouTube out here. You can read a video, look at a video, and learn it in a matter of days and cut the learning curve. Yeah. And then you have to apply the actual knowledge. For less than $10, you can buy a book. I will go to Barnes & Nobles every Sunday and read books for free. Okay? That's what they want you to do to get in there. So, the next thing is, when I actually began to read those books, I started to make a lot of money in real estate. Ended up buying over 100 properties in the city of Memphis and made some good money and rented them out and all that good stuff and learned how to do that. And then so I'm able to retire from that particular industry and wanted to travel around the world. So I went some of everywhere and said, me and my wife said, what's the next big thing? Always challenge yourself. Never be in the comfort zone. When you reach a goal, take a break, reach a goal, reset. Yeah. You're going to get to your goal if you stay laser focused. If you stay laser focused, you will always get there. Persistent action. And so I took a break, reset, and said, what's the next biggest thing? And I'm looking like Mr. Rodney over here. I'm looking at my phone for the next biggest thing. And I'm looking on it on my smartphone like an old man. Okay, they say press here. And I said, well, what about an app for businesses? Businesses are left behind because their customers have gone what? Mobile. Every one of your customers have one of these. And here's the solution to making a lot of money. If you identify a problem that affects a lot of people, the problem solver will make the most money. Become a problem solver. The person who solves the most problems will make the most money. Bill Gates recognized that there was a software issue. A lot of people didn't have the ability to get on the internet and work comfortably by using the software, so he created one, sold it to millions of people around the world, become a billionaire. Mark Zuckerberg noticed that the world wanted to be more connected. He connected the world through Facebook, Instagram, all of these social media things, solved a major problem for billions of people around the world, instant billionaire at a young age. Become a problem solver. So we solved the problem and we started connecting business. We said, look, put your business in your customer's pocket. Put your business on your customer's phone. We started an app business. We knew that money is being made at record speeds, at science, technology, all of these different fields. So we ended up building this app company, with some of the money that we had made. And in a short period of time, now we recognize we were blessed to get accounts such as the MMBCC, Shelby County Health Department. Anthony Penny Hardaway took notice of us and started backing us a little bit. Some of the big names started to represent us, but we knew that we would start to build something huge in the technology world, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. So I'm actually going to end up closing with some of the key things that I'll end up. Some of the things to take note of. I live by the 3 P's. I live by preparation. Write that down. Preparation, or take a note of it. Preparation. Abraham Lincoln said, if I had 4 hours to chop down a tree, I would spend the first 3 sharpening my tools. Prepare. Prepare for where you're going. The next thing I'm going to do is write down my plan of action. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 2 says, write down the vision and make it plain. That's what it says. I'm going to write down that vision and make it plain so that I can see where I'm going. It's like a navigational system. If you have a car, and you don't know where you're going, you don't put something into it, guess what? You ain't going to get nowhere. But every time you get in the car, it's going to reset and tell you this is the where you would want to go. You stop for gas, it's going to tell you every time. If you don't have your vision in front of you every morning, you're going to be like a ship with no sail. Yeah. You got to know where to go. The next thing I'm going to do is persistence. I'm going to stay persistent until I get there. Persistent, massive action. Everybody stand up last time, and I'm done. I want you to repeat after me. The word impossible says I'm possible. Say I'm possible. I'm possible. They say 1 out of 1,000,000 of you in this room, 1 out of 1,000,000 people are going to make it to where they want to be. Say I'm that one. I'm that one. Say I'm possible. I'm possible. I'm that one. I'm that one. Thank you so much. My name is Bryan S. Harris, CEO of